Hi, this is Wendy from Knitters Brewing, and I'm going to show you how to make this leaf motif that you can see on my sock project I'm doing here. I actually have 3 columns of them side by side, separated by a purl stitch. I'm going to demonstrate for you how to do it with the knitting needle that you have on hand, and also using a crochet hook, which some might find a little easier to do. So to use the knitting needle, it's definitely easier to do it if you're holding the yarn in your right hand. So what you're going to do is count down 5 stitches below the next stitch on the needle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is also, if you've been doing multiples of this stitch, it'll be the stitch that's coming out of the previous leaf. Now insert your needle into that 5th stitch. After I do that, I like to flip it over and look on the back and make sure I haven't stuck my needle through the middle of a yarn on the back, because that can cause a problem. So that's good, it's all clear. Now what we're going to do is wrap the yarn and pull a stitch through that 5th loop, just like any other knitting stitch that you do, and then we're going to let it be a long stitch. Hold this needle up where you would normally be holding it and let that stitch be that long. Now put your thumb over that stitch and insert the needle again into the loop just above that one. So this is going to be the 4th stitch below the needle. Again, wrap it. Be careful not to pull that big loop that you just made tighter. There we go. Pull it through. Now you've got 2 big loops on your right needle. All right, same thing. Go in and do the 3rd stitch below the next loop and pull that through. Now you can start to see that each successive long loop is just a little bit shorter than the previous one, and that's what you want. All right, we're going to keep going. Now we're 2 stitches below the next loop on the needle, and finally we are 1 stitch below the next stitch. Okay, there's our set of 5. These are going to be the 5 parts of the side of each of the leaves here. Now finally we're going to knit the next stitch on the needle normally and take it off. All right, now you're going to use your left hand needle tip to pull each of these loops over and off the end as if you're binding off. So reach under the longest one first and pull it over the top. You don't want to pull on it. It'll get a little unruly if you do that. And now go to the next longest one, and I like to give it just a little gentle tug before I pull it over, and that tends to keep these stitches looking tidy. All right, now we're going to go to the next one. All right, and we have 2 left to do. And there we are. And then you can just scooch it around a little bit, and you've got your leaf motif. Go ahead and tighten that up a little bit. There will be this long stitch in the back, which won't show right here. And you can continue on with your row. Now let me show you how to do it with the crochet hook. Alright, so I'm going to use a small steel crochet hook. This is a 2.25 millimeter hook. I think anything in the 2 to 3, maybe even 4 millimeter size would work fine. It just needs to be able to fit through your stitches. So we're going to do the same thing, only I find using the crochet method it's a lot easier to do it with the yarn in your left hand. So maybe for people that use a continental knitting style, this might be easier for you. But we're going to do the same thing. So you're going to insert the hook into the 5th stitch below, reach back, grab the loop, and pull it through. Now, the only difference is it's a little harder to gauge how long to make it, so you kind of need to hold your knitting needle up and sort of make sure you're getting it around about the right length. Now what I do is put my finger over that loop to hold it so it doesn't go anywhere while I'm putting in the other 4. All right, now I'm going into the stitch above that one. And the last 3. Okay, got the 5 sides to my leaf. Again, the longest one is on the far end. And now we're going to knit that top stitch, but I'm just going to do it with the crochet hook. Right, and take it off the needle. Now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to lift each of these over the end of the crochet hook, and starting with the long one. There's the first one, and again I give each one of them just a gentle tug as I pull it over, and that seems to take up slack and make the leaves look a little more even. It seems like each leaf has its own personal characteristics, I'll say. Okay, then when you get to the end, you can just put that loop over your right hand needle. And there we have our crocheted leaf. So what I was saying about their personal characteristics, you can see when you look, it all looks very even and pretty, but if you really look at each leaf, each one's just a little bit different, just like the ones on the trees. So don't worry if you think, oh, this one loop's a little too long, because it all looks great when you get them all done.